Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Ask Coffee Online. My name is Chef Caesar. Today, I want to show you how to make a paleo crab cake recipe. Anytime we talk about paleo diet, we're kind of imitating what our ancestors used to eat way back in time. You know, we try to use just natural ingredients, and I know it's going to be a little bit different these days because there's so many different processed foods, but you can still do it. I got some really ingredients here. Like I said, some mayonnaise. I made mayonnaise fresh from scratch, so it's really easy to make it. I mean, if you guys ever watch a video how to make mayonnaise, it's very simple. It's an easy technique to follow. So I'm using a fresh made mayonnaise. I got some almond flour here, some green onions. I also got some red peppers and some crab meat. There's different types of crab meat. There's lump crab meat, which is a bigger piece. The crab meat. There's also crab claw or fin meat, and there's different prices too. But this the one is a better quality. So I'm gonna start by getting my crab cakes together here. So I got a bowl here. I want to start by getting all the dry ingredients put together here. Okay. This is some almond flour I got here. I got some finely chopped red onions. I'm sorry, green onions. I got red onions for my sauce here. I'm gonna make a nice fresh mango salsa with cucumbers. I got some fine diced red peppers. And this is a very easy recipe to put together, as you can see. I'm also going to put a little bit of lime juice here, about 1 tablespoon, maybe just half of one. You can also use lemon juice if you like. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask your questions along the way. And then I got some of my freshly made mayonnaise, about 3/4 of a cup. And you can make this ahead of time. You can also freeze them if you don't want to use them right away. So this is something you can also do. I got some yellow mustard here. You can also use the Dijon, the wet mustard, if you don't have the powder. That one will work fine too. Okay. I'm using a little bit of sea salt just to season my crab cakes. I got some Old Bay seafood seasoning. Just a couple pinches. Some white pepper. You can also use black pepper as well. Okay. And I'm gonna add 1 egg just to bind my mixture together. Make sure you whip the egg really nice before you add it. You want to combine the whites and the yolk really nice. Once you have your ingredients, cut up and put together, to make this crab cake recipe is very simple. Okay. You can see it looks kind of wet, so I'm gonna put my crab meat in there. If you need to add a little bit more almond flour, that's okay. Sometimes you might have a little bit extra moisture from the peppers. If you cut them, a little bit in advance, you're gonna see a lot of liquid in the bottom of your bowl. Sometimes you might want to drain that, and then we're gonna add our lump crab. And be careful, you don't want to break it up too much. You want to have some nice chunks in there. So when you're mixing this in, you don't want to really mix it too much. You just want to fold it in nice and easy. That way you get some nice and big pieces of crab in there in your crab cakes. Look at that. This is really nice. And like I said before, you guys can freeze these crab cakes. You don't have to use them right away all at once if you don't have to. Now that we have our crab meat in there, you want to fold it really nice, very gentle. Look at that. And this crab meat's already pasteurized, so there's no need to worry about that. You can actually eat it the way it is. If you want to use this on top of a salad, that's fine. Look at that. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit more almond flour here because it looks like a little bit on the wet side. But just maybe like 1 or 1.5 tablespoons. They should be good enough. At this point, you can either make the cakes right away, or you can allow the mixture to sit in the cooler and then just make the crab cakes when you're ready to cook them. But I like to make them right away. That way, when it's ready to cook them, you don't have to like mess around with this anymore. So everything is prepped, and ready to go. Okay, so at this point, I'm gonna put my gloves on, and you can either weigh them, so you make them the same size, or just kind of go by just any size you want them. But you want to try to make them the same size, as close as you can. I'm also gonna dip those in my As you can see, there's like a big chunks of meat in there, the crab meat, and you don't want to mix it too much because you don't want to break it down. You want to see some really nice chunks of crab in there when you cook them. So I'm gonna put them down here. And these are wonderful, really tasty. And as you can see, they're very simple and easy to make. Want to form this nice patties. Sprinkle some flour all the way around, so when you cook them, they're not going to stick to the pan. Okay. I'm going to put this aside. So at this point, I'm going to start cooking my crab cakes, and I'm also going to be making a nice fresh fruit salsa. I got some diced mangoes here, some cucumbers, and you can do whatever you want, as long as it's something like nice and refreshing. Maybe in the summertime, especially when mangoes are in season, and you want to have something light. And this is a very light salsa. It's just some fresh ingredients here. I got some red onions, some red pepper. I also got a little bit of jalapeno peppers. I took the seeds out. So it's not too spicy. If you want to just leave it off, that's fine. I got a little bit of cilantro here, and I'm gonna add a little bit of lime juice. So this is a very easy salsa to prepare that you can serve with your crab cake. So I'm gonna start by getting my pan warm over here, and I'm using some pork lard. You can also use bacon fat. This is kind of natural. If you want to use like an oil, coconut oil would be good alternative to use to pan fry your crab cakes. A lot of people fry them in the fryer, but I don't like doing that because they really suck a lot of oil. And this way you put very little and you use a pan like this, so you only are using a little fat to cook your crab cakes. A lot of people think they're using like lard and pork fats more. It's not healthy for you. Actually, when you're using those oils that like processed, they're not really good for you. This is all natural, and this is what our ancestors probably be eating too. So you want to cover just the bottom of the pan. If you don't have a Teflon pan, you can use any regular pan. It's not going to stick because you have plenty of flour on the cakes here. That's going to help you to keep them from sticking to the pan. So I'm going to heat up my oil here. And I'm going to put all my ingredients here to make my salsa. So I got some finely chopped red peppers here. Some mango. Cut them really fine here. I also got some cucumbers here. Some fine diced red onions. This salsa has a lot of color too, and it's very tasty and very refreshing as well. Some jalapenos in there, some fresh cilantro. Now that my pan is a little bit warm here, I'm also going to add a little bit of lime juice here, about 1 tablespoon, a bit of salt, pepper. Okay, now that I got my pan nice and warm here, and you don't want to get the fat too warm. You don't want to get it too hot and smoking hot because it's going to brown your crab cakes right away. So you want to be careful just to drop them in there. See that? Make sure you keep the heat down so they don't brown too quick. You want to get them warm all the way through the center. And over here, I'm gonna finishing off my salsa here. And if you make this ahead of time, you're gonna see like a lot of juice in the bottom. This is from like the fruits and the peppers. And once you cut them and you sit them, let them sit for a while, you're gonna see a lot of juice. And that's okay. You just want to drain a little bit of the juice out when you serve it, so you don't have a pool of water in the plate. I'm gonna get my spatula here. You want to be careful when we flip this over because they're gonna be nice and soft here, so you don't want to break them. Look at that. Yes, we have a question here. Okay, the fat I'm using here, this is a pork lard. It's organic pork lard that I found in this Hispanic supermarket, and I mean, it's very popular. They use it to fry like carnitas, and that's where I bought it. So you can find it. And also, if you can't find lard, you can also use bacon fat. And this smells really nice. So be careful when you flip them over here. If you guys don't like almond flour, you can also use regular breadcrumbs like panko. But this is something that kind of goes with the theme here. And you only want to fry a few at a time because, as you can see, you want to be careful unless you got a big pan. But sometimes when you put too many pieces, the temperature of the pan is going to drop very quickly. So it's not going to brown really nice like you see here. So you want to really just fry a few at a time. Okay. Look at that. They're really nice and delicate too. Okay. What I've done in the past, I usually make the cakes, and if you don't want to use them right away, you can freeze them in the sheet pan so they kind of freeze individually. Then you can put them in a container and use them later on so they can hold up better. Instead of freezing the whole batch like this, you want to make them and then you freeze them individually. That way you can just take them out of the freezer and cook them or bake them. You can also bake them in the oven too. If you like, you can spray a little Pam or a little oil in there and put them in a sheet pan in the oven to bake and get them nice and warm in the center as well. And I'm going to start, plating my cakes here. I'm going to put a little bit of salsa on the bottom. As you can see, it's a lot of colors in there. It's very refreshing. And not only that, it's very, very healthy too. And they don't take very long to cook, as you can see. I mean, the crab meat is already pasteurized, so it's already cooked. So you want to kind of heat up all the ingredients and just get them nice and warm throughout the center. At this point, you can take them out and plate your cakes. If you want to cook a big batch, you want to take them out of here, put paper towels in the plate, and that way you can soak some of the extra oil in there. But since I'm going to do them right now, you don't have to. But if you're going to be cooking a big batch, I would recommend to like put them in a little liner with some paper towels so they kind of absorb some of the fat too. And now you can serve your cakes. You can see that. Very delicate. Little wedges of lime here. Also got some of this edible flowers that I got. You can use a garnish here. And a little cilantro sprig. And there you go. You got a nice recipe for paleo crab cakes, and as you can see,